What is up, everyone? Oh man, it feels really good to actually say that, even though like I really don't like. I'm trying to be in better spirits because it's holiday season, so there are this holiday season, so I'm getting more hours at my job. So like, and the only reason why is because like other people are quitting and leaving. So it's like, hey, you're one of the few employees that we still have left. So would you like to come in on these days? I'm like, heck yeah, I would. You know what I'm saying? I know how to work in stressful environments. I've been doing it for years, but it's like, I'm willing to. I mean, I'm willing to do what I have to do in order to get what I need to get. So while this month is still filled with dread, I'm trying my best to, like things are looking up. So here's to hoping that things look up just a little bit higher. With that being said, let's get into it. Wokeness in comic books. Wow. Okay, I want to take this time. Buckle up, y'all, because this might actually get political. And if you follow my channel, do you know that I'm not afraid to talk about politics? Because while I know very little about it, I'm willing to say whatever I can. Um, but I don't. First off, I don't like the context that woke is being used in because like white supremacists basically took the context of what woke was and basically just like turned it into a slur. Cause like initially being woke just meant, hey, be mindful that there are systematic attempts on your life as a person. You want to know what this stuff is about and understand that like these are things that are actively working against you. If you know about these things, find a way to challenge them. And then fake woke people came in and said, well, actually, what it is that you should like treat women poorly and give me money because I'm gonna tell you why actually being cruel is beneficial to society. Also, Africa. And then white supremacists was like, holy crap, they got another word? Let's take that and turn that into a slur because thug isn't working. And then so it's like the concept is just like there's this thing. I remember there was this thing that happened in the comic book One of Crisis, and Dan Turpin basically said that we take something as meaningful as fire and use it to kill ourselves. And then he lights a cigarette, and it's like, dude, that is like peak storytelling to me right there. I love stuff like that. I love stuff like that. I love storytelling like that. Pardon my leg. I'm tired. I'm sitting cross-legged, and this stuff hurts actually. So I'm just kind of doing the one half of the pose that they use in R&B musical thing. But that's not the point. The point is that like there has been like first off, art is a form of communication. Art is a form of communication. It can be protest. It could be appreciation for something. It could literally be used for multiple things. But so it's like because artwork can be used in multiple ways because it's a form of communication. The fact that artwork is being woke, it always has been. It always has been. Like as long as there's been a message to convey, people have always tried to convey it. By the way, no, this is not a flex. I don't like how my shirt is like fitting on me right now, so I'm kind of trying to move it back. I'm not trying to show the guns, bro, but what do you think though? I have been trying to work out. That's neither here nor there. But the reason why is that like the concept of wokeness was initially just be mindful of the system that is probably working against you. That's what it was initially, and now racists have managed to turn it into a slur for black people or people of color in general, and it's kind of frustrating because this happens a lot more than you think. But what's kind of annoying to me right now is that like they're basically saying, "Oh, wokeness isn't too much of this stuff nowadays because of the Marvel movie." And the Marvel movie is like apparently people who didn't know that women of color existed are now just freaking out because women of color in a superhero faction. I cannot believe what I'm saying. Oh no, they come for my heroes. It's like, dude, calm down, man. Like I don't understand how there are so many right wing like fiction fans and stuff like that. I don't understand how these people have managed to like, like I don't understand how you've managed to read stories about people toppling imperialistic oppressive regimes. And the first thing that goes to your mind is we like the imperialistic oppressive regimes. Like I don't understand that. It's like you like a lot of stories are usually about resistance towards something that is cruel or unnecessary or brutal or just straight up mean. You know what I mean? It's like, if a kid is tired of being bullied by another kid, you're gonna tell that kid to beat that bully up, right? But in real life, but in your own perspective, you're basically saying, no, let's vote for the bully and have them become president. It's like, make that make sense. We literally teach kids the concepts that we don't even believe in ourselves. I'm not gonna say we. I'm not part of you guys. I shouldn't say we. It's like that's you. That's you. That's not me. Like my brain is always screaming, this is not normal every single time I go out and try to buy groceries. And groceries went from like $50 to like $70. Like what's going on? This is not normal. This is not something that we should just be okay with. So there's that. But that's what I'm saying though. I don't understand how there's so many and it's like I kind of understand now because like fiction has basically kind of done this thing where they basically try to give morality and reason and relatability to the villainous characters. So it's like, oh, the villainous characters are villainous because they went through this stuff and this. So it's like, and the problem is that like the story that you're trying to tell is not necessarily the story that you're trying to tell is making people sympathetic towards evil. And because people are sympathetic towards evil in fiction, some of that stuff bleeds on over to actual real life. To put this in perspective, like there's people out there who literally make excuses. Like the way that I see people make excuses for like comic book villains and why they like comic book villains, it's kind of similar to like how people defend having an abusive partner. You know what I mean? It's just like, well, they clearly don't mean what they're doing. They have a reason to do it. So we should be okay with them doing it. And it's like, no, you shouldn't be okay with them doing it. Like, everybody has had bad days, but not everybody. It's like, if your response to having a couple of bad days is to hurt somebody who is not even doing anything to you, then that's not justified. You're just being a jerk. And I just really wish that people understood that, but neither here nor there. People are too busy like, no, it's justified because they, like maybe they were harmed too. It's like going, yeah, but you shouldn't you shouldn't continue the cycle of misery just because you're miserable. There's two ways to go about the scenario. There's two ways to approach things. Either I went through it, so should they, or I went through it and nobody else should. And I believe that I went through it, so should they, is not the right way to approach the situation. In any case, though, that's neither here nor there. But that's what I'm saying, though. One thing I'm loving about, this is that, there's starting to be a bit of a shift I'm starting to see in DC now. And, I'm starting to see, these, in DC, or rather just in the few bits and pieces of the current stories I've been reading. There's this in the new Superman. There's this group called Blue Earth, right? And I have been waiting for this for a long time. Like maybe it's just because I don't really read a lot of comics, but it's very rare that you get a chance to see a group of racists get together in comic books, and it's like, oh, these are the bad guys. These are bad people. It is basically like Blue Earth people are ultimately just like what happens if you give right-winger hatred of aliens instead of hatred of people of color and everybody else. So it's like you kind of got this organization, and they are like actively harming people who came in from Warworld, if I'm not mistaken, and they're domestic terrorists. They're actually harming people just simply because they're not from Earth, because they call themselves Blue Earth. But I don't like those alien people. Even though Superman, the guy y'all love and adore, is an alien. It's just like, this is a story that I've been wanting to see. I've been wanting to see, fiction take pot shots at right wingers for the longest time, because right wingers right now are the bad guys, and we're starting to see that. It's like, they're really going after them now. It's really nice to see. And there's even another thing right now where the Amazons in the most recent Wonder Woman series, they're being deported. Apparently, the story goes, somebody uh, unalive like a whole bunch of dudes at a bar, and it was an Amazonian. And so like now America is like, let's deport every Amazonian because they're dangerous. So it's like, so now you get a chance to see the right wing, like you get a chance to see the right wing wet dream of like somebody knocking on the door of a person that they don't like, and basically telling them, we're deporting you, we're taking you back to where you came from. So like you're now starting to see that being played out in the comic books, and suddenly they're like, oh, we got to do this to Wonder Woman too. You know what I'm saying? And it's like Wonder Woman is like, I'm not gonna take that. So like now you're starting to see this. It's like, comics have always been political. The very first Superman comic, it literally features him going after a corrupt senator who has been like taking bribes apparently. Like Superman in the very first, like he actually goes after a corrupt CEO who basically made the work conditions of his workers really bad by trapping the CEO and the people he was at a party with to the work conditions where the people were, so they could like handle it, so they could see it firsthand what's going on. Like they actually had to do that, you know what I'm saying? And like there was another thing, there was another moment where Superman actually, like, there was this war that was going on, and this war that was happening was basically these guys who make weapons use this war to test out their weapons. And Superman got those guys, put them in a room, and said one of three things is going to happen. You're either going to end this war, beat up each other. No, it was one of two things is going to happen. You're either going to end this war and swing on each other, or you're going to end this war and I'm going to swing on you. And the guys was like, and it's like, okay, let's just end this war, and like, let's just end this war before he hurts us. You know what I'm saying? It was ultimately like that. So Superman, this was in the 1930s. Comics have always been woke because stories have always been woke, because people who write the stories, it's social commentary at the end of the day. It's ultimately it's people who are using their voice to spread a message. It's not just pretty colors, bright lights, and fist fights. It's just there's a story there. There's a message there. You know what I'm saying? Like there's if you think deeper, like there's always going to be a deeper meaning. Just because you don't want there to be a deeper meaning doesn't mean there isn't one. You know what I mean? Like there's people out here and it's like and it's just simply a matter of you finding out what it is. A lot of times, and one thing, like it's weird. Like anime has this whole power of friendship thing. You know what I'm saying? Anime is all about friendship and togetherness, and you can't do anything without the help of the people that that care about you and love you, and if you love them. And you got people out here like calling the power of friendship bad because they think it shouldn't win fights. It's like, bro, did you understand the concept that they were actually trying to, like, it's not about the fight, it's about friendship. What do you get? These people, man, I tell you. It's like, at this point now, you can sort of tell, like, I feel like there's a right way and a wrong way to partake in fiction now. And there's way too many people who I personally feel are partaking it in the wrong way. Because if you're willing to just completely ignore the fact that there's a deeper meaning and a bigger story than what's actually going on, then like I can't have a conversation with you. But yeah, like comics being woke, come on, man. It's always been that. Superheroes challenging oppressive regimes. Monsters getting knocked down. People, the threat of destruction by a force, whether it's like extraterrestrial or intertwined or whatever. It's like, you got people who beat up mob bosses and mafia lords and stuff like that, to people who literally fight like space people whose whole thing is that they just want to oppress everybody. It's like, at the end of the day, it's just like the story is there. It's literally revolutions at the end of the day. And if you can't see that, then it's not that the series is woke, it's that maybe you're just not that smart. Okay, I better go. Love, peace, and happiness to everybody out there. And this is a whole thing. Like I probably might end up talking about this even more in my next one, because this is a big thing for me, because I like comic books. All right, but see y'all in the next one.